The precession of the Earth's axis causes a shift in the North African summer in cycles of 21,000 years. This intensifies the African monsoon, pulling it further north, thundering, raining, and changing the climate of the Sahara from desert to a lush green savanna full of lakes and water bodies, like Lake Gigachad. These periods provided windows where green corridors would grow over the desert, allowing passage into the Levant. 2 million years ago, one of the first of our line, the Homo erectus, wandered out. Then 600,000 years ago, the common ancestor of the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, followed by several waves of Homo sapiens. They all walked the earth and vanished, leaving only their bones scattered to all the corners of Eurasia. Then 60,000 years ago, one small group ventured out. And according to many researchers, they happened to survive. How do we know this for sure? Because all non-African genomes present today on Earth are descendants of this small band of humans, numbering a few thousand in all. And even though we remain the same species, we divided into distinct people and cultures, our environments becoming the prime drivers of this divergence. Explorers, adventurers, and traders periodically reconnected these distinct tribes over the course of the centuries. Sir William Jones's discovery of the kinship between Sanskrit and Greek kindled the field of comparative linguistics and brought about a new understanding of who we were and where we came from. And today, globalism, the great reunion of long-lost siblings, is the dominant political ideology of the age. We have lost and rediscovered each other countless times, and each such event has brought with it periods of intense psychic flux and material transformation, both for better and worse. But after all the churn, we are all networked today by the World Wide Web. Most of us living lives that likely represent the highest form of utopia our antecedents could have imagined. The threats from disease, predators, scarcity, and even from each other having been reduced to background levels that would have been inconceivable for the first humans. But the world today largely is not a melting pot the way many imagined. And most of us remain fearful, uncertain, perhaps even diminished in comparison to the humans of the past. And this chronic anxiety, a sense that not all is right with the world, might not be unique. Maybe we are feeling something similar to what caused the migrations out of Africa in the first place. At the midpoint of the Holocene, after almost 10 millennia of stability and growth, could we be at the start of another great migration? Geographical movements might be more restricted today compared to the more liberal visa policies of prehistory. But just like nature created a lush shaded canopy all those years ago, we might be forcing open a technological corridor that takes us into new domains. With the emergence of artificial intelligence as a likely accelerator of scientific and technological progress, the SpaceX IPO, the largest in history, signaling the dawn of a new space age, the future is starting to take shape. There will be new waves of migration into space, into metal, into silicon, into biological forms that exist today only in imagination. And being the kind of channel we are, we will talk about each of those impending migrations in time. A lot of those futures sound bleak and dark, but today we are going to talk about a slightly more optimistic future. The nearest of all futures in probability space. A place with many names: Hesperia, Nandana, Eden, the garden world, Earth. This is Sira and you're watching Tech for Luddites. A Greek poet named Hesiod once wrote of a golden race who lived without toil, the earth bearing its fruit unforced. And then things apparently went downhill from there, age by age, to our own hard age of iron, where nothing comes unforced anymore, and we must wring our bread from the ground. Genesis speaks of a garden where a man and woman break a single rule and are driven out into a land of sweat and labor. With cherubim and a turning sword of flame guarding the way back, the keepers of the Hindu ages counted a long descent from the Satya Yuga to the Treta Yuga to Dwapara Yuga, progressively declining in moral and spiritual consciousness, plunging into the Kali Yuga, the dark age, closing out the cosmic supercycle. There is a sense that at one point of time, we lived in a land of plenty among the glades, descending further and further till we got to where we are today. Arboreal apes stuck in cages of glass and concrete. I think deep down we just long for the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, having regretted the shift to agriculture and all the consequences thereof. Have you never looked at a tree with a particularly compliant layout and wanted to climb up, rest on a sturdy branch, and lay back with the warmth of the sun on your face? Holding the reins of the future, what could be more natural than if we turned our steed back towards the green paradise that dwells in the back of all of our minds? So what would this geoengineering project require of us? Thankfully, some places have already started doing the groundwork. More efficient use of farmland is essential in order to take down some of the fences that keep nature at bay. We hit peak farmland somewhere around the early 2000s. And even though the food we've been growing has increased year on year, the area under cultivation has reversed trend, maybe for the first time since we started planting seeds. The eyes we put into orbit are already seeing a world growing greener. China's Lewis Plateau was once described as one of the most degraded places on Earth, a region of eroded yellow earth where the soil had washed away. Under a program backed by the World Bank, the Grain for Green initiative paid farmers to take the steepest slopes out of cultivation and let them recover. Vegetation cover rose from 31% to 60%, and farmer incomes more than doubled. The Great Green Wall is a planned belt of restored land running 8,000 kilometers along the southern edge of the Sahara, with a goal to bring back 100 million hectares, and more than $19 billion have been pledged towards it. Forests are also being welcomed back into cities. For most of the 20th century, the modern city was imagined as a victory over nature. Asphalt, concrete, flyovers, parking lots, air conditioners. The city was where you went to escape floods, forests, and animals. But now, some of the most advanced cities in the world are realizing that this was a mistake. Because nature does things that even modern engineering tends to struggle with. Trees cool streets, leaves trap dust, roots hold soil. A tree-lined road is more breathable and less hostile. In Medellin, Colombia, between 2016 and 2019, the city threaded 30 green corridors through its roads and waterways. They planted trees along hard urban routes that had become heat traps. The result was that Medellin's urban heat island effect reportedly dropped by around 2 degrees Celsius, and air quality improved as well. Seoul did something even more radical. In the early 2000s, it tore out an elevated motorway in the middle of the city, the kind of structure that in the old imagination of progress would have been considered a triumph. Underneath it was the buried Cheonggyecheon stream. Between 2003 and 2005, Seoul uncovered the water and restored it as a public corridor through the city center. Milan's Bosco Verticale, the vertical forest, 2 residential towers carrying roughly 900 trees up their facades. They converted the glass and concrete residential tower into a host for nature. Across the world, development is now treating trees as infrastructure. The future city may not quite be a jungle. It'll still have roads, trains, towers, and let's face it, data centers. But the best cities may start to feel less like Hot Wheel sets for moving cars around and more like natural ecosystem for a discerning Homo sapien. Contrary to popular belief, a green Earth isn't something that can solve global warming, since there's been a lot of posts of that nature recently. To capture a single year of our emissions, you would need about 1 trillion trees, a third of all trees on Earth. A new forest the size of Russia every single year. Trees are worth planting for many reasons, but offsetting our emissions is unfortunately not one of them. There's a video we did earlier if you want to see the math on this. When Thomas More came up with the term Utopia, that was laced with a cynical double entendre, because the Latin roots of the word means both perfect place as well as no place. Even in imagining heaven, we hesitate. Perhaps because we've been deceived too often by sweet words and empty promises. And we overthink when it comes to doing the obvious. A grassland, a forest we can make of this world. We just need to get out of our own way. Monkey don't think, monkey see, monkey do. If the history of our species has taught us anything, it's that you can just do things. So with the stars beckoning, would you be one of those who remain on Earth? Walk among the trees and animals, shredding the neuroses that seem to distinguish our species from most others? Are we being too harsh on modernity? Well, the channel is called Tech for Luddites, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in your recommendations. I'll see you really soon. Bye.